And that brings us to what we really want to talk about, which is Paolo Banchero getting recognized on the track, but also at the same time, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, Formula One, right? I understand, like, the pageantry. I understand that it has like a class to it. Obviously, it involves all the world. So, like, I understand the intrigue, right? You get it. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, these are a lot of people that want to be hanging out in Monaco. I get it. That's
right.
like the class of crowd that they're going after. But for you and I, you're IndyCar.
Yes,
Indianapolis,
yes,
Indiana.
yes,
I am NASCAR.
right.
I'm North Carolina, Dale for life. You know what I mean? That's like what we like racing. We have racing in our
Threes
blood.
up for Dale.
Yeah,
Hold the
always.
threes up. Okay.
Always. But in general, so we come into this and we're like, we like racing. You know what I mean? So
I
I
do,
wa-
I do, I
yeah.
love racing. I do love racing.
I remember when I was a kid and I was like 8 years old and I would come out on Sundays and I would see my neighbor would have all the Bud Light cans at
Yeah,
the top of the road. And I was like,
yeah,
what? My mom's like,
yeah,
race on Sunday.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just what it was. So we love racing. So we come into it with a positive attitude. And I could not have been met with better content. You know what I mean? Not the race part of it.
Race was garbage.
The race was garbage.
Terrible
but
race.
what Martin Brindle did as an interviewer,
Yeah.
we are Jays, as journalists, we watch that, we marvel at it, we respect it. And the Paolo Banchero incident, honestly, was probably the third most interesting thing. I mean, it's number one in our hearts, but like, I mean, he had the Williams sisters. You saw
Yeah,
that? I mean,
yeah.
he was like, they're standoffish. They never talk to
He
anyone. His
he won my respect when he was
his
like,
commentary was unbelievable. I could not believe he was saying half the things he was saying. Shout out to Sky Sports for letting him do it.
he won my respect when he was trying to talk to David Beckham, and then Beckham like turns away, and then
He
and then
ran
says-
away from
and then he goes, "It looks like Beckham's got some official team business, but no mind, we'll figure it out." And I was like, "What?" He's getting in there, and he just is like bobbing and weaving through like ropes and past security guards.
This is a man who calls himself DJ Khaled. That was one of the best. And then DJ Khaled brought in. He was like, "We're looking for celebrities. We're looking for celebrities." He had D Wade and Gabrielle Union literally walking right next to him, and he's like, "Where are the celebrities?" Get these people out of my face.
And then, so my question is, do you think he thought this, or is this a producer in his ear telling him that might be Patrick Mahomes?
Yes. That is where it starts. So he's walking down the grid walk. If you didn't see this, he's trying to find celebrities. Director, producer, whoever's in his ear is saying, "Martin, this person's there, grab them. This person's there, grab them." So I think the person in his ear originally said, "There's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
Grab Patrick Mahomes."
that's
So-
what I thought too.
So that's how it
because
started.
If he knew who Patrick Mahomes, like Patrick Mahomes is more famous than Paolo Banchero. I
Yes.
understand that, but also, I
Not to a former Formula One driver. You know what I mean? He doesn't know who Patrick Mahomes
that's
or
what
Paolo
I mean.
Banchero.
So for him to be like kind of confident that might be Patrick Mahomes, that was already, but then to be wrong, like that didn't add up to me. Like that to me was like very obviously someone was in his ear, and like that might be one of these British dudes that's
Yeah.
producing it. It was like, is that
Oh,
Patrick?
is that Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, he tosses
Oi.
the footy, the hand egg. Oh, yeah.
So that's how it starts. It starts with him saying Patrick, and then Paolo Banchero keeps walking because no one answers to not their name.
Right.
But kudos to him. He does turn around because he's like, obviously someone is behind me yelling a name. So
And
he
kudos to this Martin guy because he just experienced. I don't know who this guy is, and I'm not gonna pretend to know. I'm gonna give him a taste of his own medicine. Martin Tyler, is that him? He
Yeah.
calls the soccer games. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
him.
yeah,
He's like the
yeah.
voice of FIFA, right?
There you go.
Um,
Martin Tyler here.
Rudy, Rudy.
Sean Wright Phillips, a real bundle of energy.
So Martin Tyler 2.0, whoever this guy is.
Yeah.
He had just experienced this with David Beckham, where David Beckham kind of gives him the cold shoulder, whatever. So in his mind, he's like, Patrick, Paolo Banchero doesn't turn. He's like, whatever.
Just another day at the
Another
office.
day at the office. Like this is going to continue.
And this
to
is
happen
his
to me.
thing that he does. According to all the experts on Twitter, this is what he does. He goes down the grid. He talks to people. He tries to interact with the racers. And he was a former driver himself. So he
was?
Yeah.
Really?
His bio,
Dude,
I followed him on every platform after this incident because I was like, this guy is a legend. His bio and everything says, "I can," and I promise, "I can because I did."
Dude.
We got to keep that line. You should use that, by the way.
I can't
When someone
because
comes
I
at you and they're
did.
like, "Why
Yeah.
are you talking about college basketball?" Say, "I can
I can't because I
did."
did. Yeah. 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 How can you, dude? You pick Kentucky to win it all. How can you get paid to do this? And
I
I'm like,
can
because I did. Yeah.
So that is the kind of energy that you have going into this grid walk.
If you would have told me this man was England's version of who's the Real Housewives guy, Andy Cohen.
Yes.
Is that his name? Yeah. If you would have told me that's who this guy is, I would have.
By the way,
like,
Andy Cohen would have been great at the grid walk. He would have been great. Maybe they figured that out for now.
So Paolo, he goes up to Paolo. Paolo turns around. They do a very quick interview.
I can see out of my right eye right now because I'm so excited. So I'm about to. I have a little play-by-play. The first thing he says is, "Patrick, how are you?" That's the first thing he says, and Paolo says it's amazing to be alive. And he's looking around. He's like, "Can't believe I'm here." And then he gets asked about the drivers, the incredible drivers, and Paolo says, "You can see they're locked in." And then there's an awkward silence because Martin's like, "Okay, what else?" And he was like, "Reminds me of myself." Another awkward silence. This one's a long awkward silence because he's like, he's like, "What do you mean remind you of yourself?" And then he goes, "The real focus." So he says, reminds me of myself. And then the next thing that Martin does is go, "And pray tell, who are you?" Which is unbelievable because the fact that he said these world-class drivers reminds me of myself is one thing. But then to have the guy that asked you the question to say, "Okay, good point, but who are you?"
It's so good.
And he finally taught us. We've been waiting all year to figure out how to pronounce Paolo Banchero.
Paolo Banchero.
So the fact that we finally had the full culmination moment of him saying his own name, Paolo Banchero.
Which one of the great ironies of all this is that if Jim would have done his job and actually made the Paolo do it again.
Paolo Banchero.
If he would have actually released the song, Jim, if he would have cut this up, that would have gone up the charts in all those discoteca European places.
Huge.
And Martin Brundalulu, what's his name?
Brindle?
Brindle?
I think it's Brindle or Brundle.
Brundaloo?
I think Brindle might be like what dog, like the dogs that are like, it's like they're Brindle pups, you know what I mean? I think I'm getting Brundle and Brindle confused, but Martin Brindle.
Martin Tyler, he would have known who Paolo Banchero was if your song would have been released. But
yes.
That's the but I put myself in his shoes that he thinks it's Patrick Mahomes. He realizes it's not Patrick Mahomes, but the stranger standing in front of him just said, "These Formula One drivers remind me of myself."
And he doesn't know who he is.
And he's like, "Who are you?"
That's why he had to ask. A lot of people I saw were like, why would he even ask? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you just play it off? He had to ask because that answer was so alarming. You know what I mean? You're like, for someone to have such hubris, you must be
somebody. Yeah.
And he is someone. I mean, he's Paolo Banchero. So
there cannot be a more deflating
it was great.
question than "Who are you?" When you're at an event as a celebrity, as a VIP, and you're on television.
Your one job is to be you, to be somebody.
And someone literally shoves a microphone in your face and the camera and says, "Who are you?"
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.